and scorenorth.com.
Things are not going to be easy because of it. We're going to have a great deal of challenges in addition to everything that we've already gone through. And I'll be honest, we're going to deal with them, and we're going to be up for it, and we're going to give it our best effort regardless of what's going on. And none of this has gone to plan. It can happen. This is the reality that we live in, the unfortunate reality that we live in.
Let's fire it up. Here we go.
Hold on.
Yeah, put your mask on.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point, Judd. Mask up.
Mask up, hold on.
Mask up, kids.
There we go.
By the way, the bad news for you guys is my button bar is stuck on loop, and so we're just going to sit here the entire show. We're just going to listen to the whole We're Going to Win Twins song. Welcome to Mackey and Judd. This is Monday Statements on the show, presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. If you're looking to avoid risk and sleep better at night, whether you're a baseball team suffering from a clubhouse ravaged by a pandemic, or whether you are one of the businesses that falls under the umbrella of businesses that Federated would protect, Federated Insurance is here. They're not going to help you with the clubhouse outbreak, but they'll help you with a lot of other things if you're a business owner. Find out more about why Federated has been a trusted source of protection and peace of mind for businesses for over 100 years at federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours.
We okay now?
I mean, we're in separate rooms.
Can I take my mask off?
We followed our protocols. We listened to science. We didn't do any personal belief and didn't want to sabotage everyone else's health or everyone else's situation. Wow. But no, by all means.
Let's just get right into statements. I'll just lead off with the first statement, so then we can just do this however we're going to do it. So the Twins haven't played in like 3 days. They're not going to play today.
Which is not a bad thing considering what we saw on Friday.
It's a good point. Yeah. They're supposed to play a doubleheader tomorrow, but that's almost certainly not going to happen. They haven't even gotten to Oakland yet, right? They're still in Southern California because a bunch of players have COVID. So here's the first statement.
Yep.
And I don't mean this to be a political statement. I don't mean this to be anything other than just, I want the Twins to play baseball. Get your vaccines, kids.
Yes.
Get your vaccines, kids. Andrelton Simmons and a few other yet-to-be-named publicly Twins have said, even though they had a batch of vaccines that was rushed to the clubhouse like a week ago or whenever it was. Like, listen, we're going to get all you guys vaccinated so you don't have to do any of this. You can spit again. You guys can do all your, like, crazy handshakes. You can pat each other on the rump after somebody has a base knock to center field, and you don't have to worry about COVID anymore. It'll be great. And Andrelton Simmons and a few other guys decided, I'm good on the vaccine. And then 5 minutes later, Andrelton gets put on the COVID list, etc. And I just want to read something from Dan Hayes, The Athletic here. Back-to-back tweets. Tweet number 1. Sources. Minnesota Twins not finding overlap between their current COVID issues and Andrelton Simmons. Contact tracing showing little crossover between affected persons from this incident and Simmons, who hasn't been around since Tuesday. A short while later, he issues a correction tweet and says, the Twins downplayed this earlier belief that I tweeted about as more evidence rolled in tonight. Actually, the outbreak did stem from a variant and properties of which appeared in all 4 positive tests. Of course, Andrelton Simmons was in the clubhouse and in the dugout for days and weeks leading up to the outbreak, and he very publicly is anti-vaccine in this case. And so I would just say, listen, not to turn this into a big political debate, but your decisions affect other people, and that's what's happening with the Twins right now. Get your vaccines, kids.
Yeah. You do have to wonder if there's going to be some, how can I put this, a resentment too. Because this would not be this happens in sports. And look, I mean, sports brings, and it's a fun thing about sports, brings together people from all different walks of life with different religious beliefs and political beliefs, right? And all of that. But you do have to wonder if the guys, because the Twins I think the Twins did the Johnson & Johnson now discontinued, but it might be back one and done shot the day of their home opener against the Mariners, because they then had Friday off to, if they didn't feel well. And a lot of guys got it at that point. And so I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of sideways look. Like at first, if a person didn't get the shot, like Simmons didn't, and he just doesn't believe in it and he doesn't get sick, I think you're like, well, I would have done that personally, but that's fine, right? But when you put together that big a group of people with different beliefs again now, and then he gets sick and then he possibly spreads it. And I think I saw the story on Saturday that one of the players who had tested positive, I think Saturday afternoon, was Kyle Garlick, who did get the shot, but the vaccine doesn't kick in officially until 2 weeks after you have it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying these are the sort of things that can cause internal friction that won't be talked about publicly, but you can't blame guys for being probably a little bit like, dude, you could have helped us out.
Well, and the other thing is too, like, I don't know. I think what would bother me, it's less about like not getting the vaccine. I have people in my life. I have friends, a former chiropractor of mine, like that are very skittish, and some that aren't going to get it. Some that are just like, I hate the idea of side effects, and I feel like this was rushed. And like, I'm not going to debate that. I totally understand that fear. But in the case of a professional baseball player, if you decide to not get the vaccine, then I think what would irritate me and what we don't really know is, are you also not being safe? Like, are you not putting your teammates and your coworkers top of mind? All right, so I'm going to make the move myself to not get a vaccine. It doesn't mean that I can't get COVID and pass it along to other people. And so I'd want some reassurances that the guys in that clubhouse that decided to not get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine home opener day, that they were going above and beyond to be cautious around their teammates. And if they weren't, I'd be pissed if I was one of their coworkers.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating. I mean, one of my statements was get the vaccine. This is like when I had COVID in October through a certain individual, and then I also hung out with people a week later, not thinking it was going to be an issue, and then my friends got COVID out of the situation because I was an idiot.
Wait, you gave your friends COVID?
You didn't tell us this.
Yeah, I gave my friends COVID. Yeah, I gave my friends COVID because I was an idiot, and I thought I'd be fine. I thought I'd be fine.
You are Andrelton Simmons of your friend group.
So did you?
I am. But
you
this
didn't
was
know
before.
this?
This was before I was tested. This was before I had symptoms. This was before anything was kicked in. Yeah, it was a whole thing. It was a huge problem. It was a big, gigantic, enormous mistake by me. It was a gigantic, enormous mistake by me. I'm well aware of this. So
did you guys have to postpone some softball games?
No. Thank God, no.
I hope your friends were mad at you.
Yeah, some were mad at me. Yeah, of course they were. It was like saying it's like saying you have an STD to like your friends. Basically, it's like this almost the equivalent of the exact same situation.
You did not tell us any of this.
Yeah, I didn't tell you any of this.
Oh my God, that's so selfish.
Yeah, it was very selfish of me. It was very dumb. But then also the problem was I had other friends there who said that they already were thinking they had COVID too. So then I entered the same room as that situation. So like it was a giant storm of an S show trying to figure out.
Why were you going out with your friends?
I wasn't going out. It was a small get together at a friend's house. We
didn't go in
public.
That's the same thing.
That's the same thing. Yeah.
We weren't going out.
COVID, reason to avoid people, not in trying to engage.
My point is
humans overrated.
Listen to science. Don't listen to your gut for this situation. This was a pandemic. Realize you made a mistake. And for God's sakes, get vaccinated when you have the opportunity. Stop putting your own personal gut feelings involved with it. I'm trying to relate to Andrelton Simmons here in the factor of like, I'll be fine. But clearly you weren't, dude. You made a horrible decision, and has now cost your friends and now your teammates games and situations. So yes. So
basically, Declan and Andrelton Simmons are both horribly selfish people. Is what the moral of this story
I think Simmons doesn't, but I think the difference is Dex was selfish and didn't care. Simmons is selfish. I think he really doesn't believe those. So he is an anti-vaxxer, which Declan's not.
No, I hope no.
But the problem is this in sports, okay? If you have a friend who doesn't believe in the vaccine and doesn't get that, I think that's frustrating, but like that's their belief. The thing where there's a problem potentially, I think, with the Twins and in their room is this one. You are brought up as an athlete, especially in team sports, believing that the team trumps everything, right? So like this is a he didn't do it and people got sick and it could cost you wins. Like that's where I think athletes and teams get mad because they're like, dude, your beliefs in some ways have nothing to do with the fact that you can't play now and now people are sick. And we potentially are going to be cost games because of you. That's the problem in sports.
I said I wasn't going to go super deep down this path. I just want to say one more thing. Because I think there's a lot of idiots out there right now. And I think I hope that Andrelton Simmons isn't one of them. I really just want him to play shortstop at a high level and help the Twins win a playoff game for the first time in 20 years, okay? And I get that there are reasons that people have for not wanting this particular vaccine, okay? But if you guys ever look at like a life expectancy graph over the history of time and when it started to spike. So for centuries, people died on average when they were like 35, 40, 45 years old. All right?
Yeah, I checked out early.
Like if you look at like the United Kingdom or the United States, pretty similar areas in terms of just like resources and everything. In the 1500s and the 1600s, the average life expectancy was 39, 40 years old. 1700s, it was actually a little bit lower because of wars. Like people died early in the Revolutionary War, et cetera, right?
Oh, not fun.
Average life expectancy started to spike in the late 1800s into the 1900s, and then now it's up above 70, 75 years old, which coincides with the first vaccines for things like smallpox and polio, right?
Yep.
Like people died when they were 40 or 45 up until like in world history, up until about 150 years ago.
King Tut died early.
And vaccines have doubled the life expectancy of people. And Andrelton Simmons has decided, listen, guys, I'm good on this, and I'm going to cough all over my teammates, apparently, and fling sweat beads on their lockers as well. Like, dude, I mean, come on. All right, I know that a bunch of people just
they're tuning out right now. They're very upset with us.
Never
they're
watch or
very
listen to the
upset
show
with
again.
us.
We also got a funny, speaking of funny comments, people tuning out, we got a funny one on our YouTube channel over the weekend for our movie review of Draft Day. And he was basically upset that we were basically patronizing Jennifer Gardner. I think it was mostly me that was patronizing Jennifer Gardner.
No, you
guys clearly have an agenda to push the strong woman thing. I had to stop listening. That was
okay.
We're not patronizing Jennifer Gardner.
We're not patronizing her. No,
but he just got the word wrong.
I got the word wrong.
He got what he meant wrong.
Yeah, I got
Declan got the word wrong. Okay.
Yeah, I got the word wrong. Truth the messenger. But his comment of, you guys are just basically putting this agenda of a strong woman.
Yeah,
I'm out. He's like, I'm out. I can't listen to this.
Both of
like,
you.
oh, how dare
Both
us.
of you think women being strong. How dare you?
Yeah,
in retrospect, that movie would have been better if Jennifer Garner was just making sandwiches for lunch for Kevin Costner while he
I am so
football,
tired of you guys trying to empower people.
Oh, my God.
I mean, people.
All right, statement number 2, Judge.
All right, wait. I'm going to combine a statement with reckless speculation.
Can't wait for the polio outbreak in the Twins clubhouse later this year.
Remember you guys got polio? Oh, wait, you didn't because you got vaccinated? Yeah.
Weekend statement coming off a move made in Cleveland, Ohio, home of Draft Day on Friday. Don't be surprised if the Vikings are at least tied in reports to the availability of one defensive tackle, Sheldon Richardson, who had 4.5 sacks in 2018 with the Vikings and had 4.5 sacks with the Browns last year and was a salary cap casualty of Kevin Stefanski's team on Friday. He could be the pass rushing defensive tackle that Zim wants because they right now have two defensive tackles who are going to in Cook and Pierce, who are going to definitely solidify the middle of that defensive line on rundowns. But what are they going to do on passing downs? They need some help there. Sheldon Richardson.
Are we talking to former lead Vikings beat writer, Star Tribune insider Judd Zulgad right now?
No.
Or are we talking to speculative Judd Zulgad?
Reckless speculation.
You're talking to more speculative Judd right now.
It makes sense, though.
But it makes a ton of sense. And Zim, I think he loved him. And keep in mind, Sheldon was the piece that Zim got when Cousins was signed to keep Zim distracted and happy at that time.
You could also at this point, because what are we? We're a week away from the NFL draft, a week and change, right? Next Thursday. So, you could tell Sheldon, hey, we really need to get through the first couple rounds of the NFL draft so we can see, because we don't know how it's going to fall. We don't know. Our cap situation might change if we trade back, right? So you could put that on ice. If you draft, let's say you're sitting there and all the offensive linemen go off the board and you wind up with an edge rusher or Christian Barmore or something, right? Then you wouldn't need Sheldon Richardson as much anymore. You might still sign him because Tim just loves to stockpile defensive players. But this is probably something you could wait on for another 10 days and just have a better idea of what your roster looks like after the draft, right?
Yes, and I believe he is 30, if I'm not mistaken. So he would be a guy who would have to decide, like he's at a pivotal point in his career where I think being a pass rush specialist might keep him around and might be smart, but he probably also is saying, well, I could still play on rushing downs, even though that's not his strength. So that's up to him. But I think at some point in time, guys, and it probably is going to have to come this week, we're going to need to brace people for the fact that I think if you believe that they are going to take 2 O linemen on the left side of the football, it's not happening. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to take one, but I really think that there is a great chance Brian O'Neill is going to move from right tackle to the left side. And we just need to prepare fans. Because I think fans are like, well, of course they're going to go draft guys on the left side of the offensive line, and I think they might take one. But the more I think about this, the less and less surprised I will be if they take a pass rushing end, even perhaps by trading back in the first round.
Yeah, trading back seems very likely. In fact, on Purple Daily today, Mock Draft Monday, we're going to do our own mock draft simulation for the third time, I believe, Draft Network. And I think our goal today should be trade back and just see what's still available. Like if Washington wants to trade up to 14 or something. Because I now think it's much more likely they trade back than trade up, even though trading up might get you a franchise left tackle. I think in their mind it's like, well, we'll just kind of figure that. We'll just kind of shuffle Brian O'Neill over here and figure it out later, like in the third round. Or never. Probably never. Yeah.
Or never.
Or never.
Probably never. All right, Declan.
All right, back to me. I'll go with a hockey one here. My statement is, if you're going to hold players accountable, then reward players for good actions too. So what I'm getting at here, Judd and I we did an emergency pod yesterday after the Wild swept the Sharks. So on Saturday, right, Judge? Saturday was the game. Kevin Fiala was benched for about
11 minutes.
For about 11 minutes. Period. Kevin Fiala got benched. Fiala will do this. He'll have some very frustrating offensive zone turnovers. He can cause you to pull your hair out sometimes, but he also can go through stretches like he did last week when he scored a hat trick, had about 13 goals in 6 games. He's a streaky player. He'll go through stretches like this for sure, and he can frustrate you, and maybe frustrate more of a purist hockey fan who doesn't want someone to just make a turnover and just get pucks deep, but instead we make a turnover at the blue line and it causes a transition play the other way. It gets really frustrating. So you bench him. You bench basically your second most impactful player for poor play. All right, I'll even listen to it. I can understand it. Here's what I don't get. Victor Rask, who is probably the most biggest liability on any NHL roster right now, is still getting top line minutes. In the last 15 games for Victor Rask. In the last 15 games, 0 goals, 4 assists, 3 of them have come on the power play, so that means he's basically a power play pony. He's playing 15 and a half minutes a night. He's not shooting the puck, but because he's a center, we have to keep him in the top of the lineup. Meanwhile, Nico Sturm, this young, up-and-coming, very fast player who has great skill and speed that this team should probably use in a situation to pair with the top line, is just still relegated to fourth-line minutes, and Victor Rask, for whatever reason, still plays 16 minutes a night and makes 0 impact on the offensive game for this hockey team. So if you're gonna punish Kevin Fiala, then also banish Victor Rask. Don't just sit him for 10 minutes. Put him in the press box. He has no business being out there right now, and especially in the top line of this team. It's very, very frustrating. And rant.
You okay, Dex?
Yes, I'm okay.
I love it. I almost think we need a weekly segment where Declan just goes in on Victor Rask. It's becoming you are becoming Victor Rask to Declan is becoming. I'm trying to think of the Judd comparison. Like you were annoyed by Mikko, but you were never.
Oh yeah,
you were never like you were like Mikko was a good player too. So
he was a good player.
Yeah. He was not Victor Rask, that's for sure.
He's not the Chad Beebe level of hatred for me. Because like Chad Beebe, I just don't get Chad Beebe.
Chad Beebe.
I just
plays
don't
like
get it.
10 snaps a game.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, but that's
he
fine.
Works hard.
That's fine. He works hard and he gets out there for 15 snaps. That's okay. Victor Rask is playing like Justin Jefferson level amount of snaps with Chad Beebe production.
But your hate,
amount of snaps.
But your hate for Rask actually makes sense because of what you just said. Beebe barely plays.
Yeah.
And he plays special teams. Why? How can you hate a guy who works on special teams?
But just think about, though, because they're not oblivious to this. I almost feel like the heat should be more on the franchise, right? Like and you can make that argument every time we talk about Kirk Cousins and his contract, but they're aware of it, and they're going to fix it at some point in the next 6 months in the offseason.
Yeah.
And just imagine how much better the team is going to be when you take a below replacement level player and you put somebody in who's even just like an average center, right? If they can just find an average, ideally you'd find a young guy with some upside, but yeah.
In their defense, though, they're doing a good job, though, of morphing and changing this entire thing. So I like it. What frustrated me previously was the fact that the Wild for years seemed to love to beat its head against the wall by doing the same BS over and over. At least now it's changing. Like it's probably not as quick, obviously, as Declan Goff would like, but at least they are changing things. At least they are introducing different guys. At least they are. You can now see a path. That's all I want. I want to see a path. And when the path comes to an abrupt end and you continue to do the same thing, that's what drives me crazy. Phil Mackey.
I actually have a Wild statement as well. Mr. Hockey right here. Okay?
He's a Kraken fan. He's about to announce his Kraken fandom.
Hey, I saw my guy and hopefully future Kraken coach Bruce Boudreau was rocking NHL Network on Saturday.
He's working for him now.
It's awesome. Love it. I would just prefer him to be on TV.
Hey, I want some garb, though.
Yeah, I want some. No, I want some. You didn't
send
like
me a
the
hoodie.
garb.
No. I hate the name. I love the logo. Send me some
if Judd gets something before
double
me,
XL hoodie.
I question a lot of our friendship, Phil, if Judd gets something before I do.
What's your size?
You haven't worked with him as long as I have.
But I care about
medium?
I care about the Kraken more. I'm more of a small.
A small?
Yeah, but I could do a medium. I can rock a medium.
I almost said something politically incorrect.
Yeah,
I almost said something politically incorrect. But the way that I stood behind the Jennifer Garner character on Friday stopped me from saying anything. It's a new Judd, 2021.
Bravo.
So my Wild statement is, and I know that Declan just like the Wild are. They'll lose a couple bad games and give up 9 goals, and then every time something bad happens and you think, oh, okay, the magic carpet ride's kind of over, they bounce back and they win 3 in a row, or they sweep a decent team, right? And so my statement is, this is one of the more exciting and hope-filled seasons in Wild history. Just because no one expected them to be sitting here, they've basically, not mathematically yet, I don't want to jinx it, but like they've locked up a playoff spot at this point, and now it's just about like, is there any way they could crawl into the top 2 in their division? Probably not. But so like everything's gravy from this point out. It's not just one of those weird fluke seasons where like you had some puck luck. You have some good young players that you're going to be able to watch for the next 5, 6, 7 years. And so I legitimately think this is one of the most fun and hopeful seasons. It's just too bad that you really don't have fans inside the X all year. It's like 20,000 people inside the X would make a huge difference, and they're not going to get there by playoff time. So that's I don't know. Your guys' thoughts? Am I too hot on the 21 years of Wild history and where this season could fall?
You know why? You know why? You said exactly what you just said, Phil. Because it is unexpected success.
Yep.
Because it's fun. Because when it was, I mean, let's just go back a few years. It was Parise to Suter to Granlund to Nino.
Really?
What? Like but eventually we expected like a playoff berth, and now are you going to make a run? I think part of what sort of steals the joy, and yes, it's early, but what sort of steals the joy from the Twins right now is like the expectations are win a division and end the playoff losing streak, right? So it's not as much fun. But the Wild, you were like, well, they might be a playoff team, they might not be, but we don't know. But they are for sure, and they look good. And they're a fun team. This is the. I urge you, if you are a fan of this team, enjoy this now, because like the expectations are going to progress and go upward, and eventually you are going to expect a playoff run. This is fun because I really think it's that sort of unexpected jolt of, oh, I thought they might be okay, but they're pretty good. Mm-hmm. That's a great place to be. That's a fun place to be.
All right, back to Judd.
All right. Baseball statement not related to the Twins. If you are a baseball fan, which I am, still looking for good games and great series, right? Dodgers and Padres games are a must-watch this season. Friday night, the Dodgers win in 12, 11-6, but it went 12 because it was 6-6. Saturday, you come back and get a pitching duel, which was magnificent. 2-rip. That ends with a Mookie Betts catch in center field that was absolutely glorious. Yesterday, you come back again and you get Bauer and Darvish in what was, or I'm sorry, it was
Snell.
Darvish and Kershaw on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Snell and Bauer on Sunday.
Yep.
And you come back and get a Padres win where they came back, I think, from down 2-rip at one point. They come back and win. The point being is, this is, as far as baseball is concerned, appointment television. And I think they start a 4-game series on Thursday now at Dodger Stadium. It was fantastic baseball.
I missed the game yesterday, but I saw that Gratterall came back, and he did. I think he gave up the tying run coming in for Bauer yesterday. And the last time those two teams faced each other, he did. There was someone robbed a home run or made a great play to save him, and
Mookie.
he freaked out and threw his hat and stuff.
He threw his glove and hat at the dugout.
And the Padres weren't too happy about that. Was there any bench clearing situation? Did they taunt Gratterall? Did you guys see? I did not see that game.
I did not see it. I don't think that they did, but this is going to be intense. These teams at this point, as far as I can tell, despise the opposing club. It is great. This is still really fun. Like there's a lot about baseball that drags on. It's pretty boring. It's just like, okay, get this game done with. These games are not like that. It's great.
All right, my last statement here. It is a weekend observation. On Friday, I stopped at my local liquor store as I do every Friday after 3:00, and I picked up the new seltzer a new White Claw seltzer. They have 8% now. Seltzers. They're called Surges.
And what are
Surge.
most seltzers are like 4-5%?
4 to 5, yeah. 4 to 5.
Somewhere in there. Mm-hmm.
So this is 8. And I like an IPA, and IPA beers are typically about the 7 to 8% range. They're a little more boozy and hoppier.
Pretty aggressive.
They fill you up pretty good. So I thought, you know what? Why not? I'll give this a shot. I can't believe it's already available. I'll give it a shot. I came home. I posted on Twitter that hey, I found them. And everyone's like, well, we need a review. We need a review. And because I'm very easily peer pressured, I gave a review. And I didn't want to drink one of these before 4:00 on a Friday, but I decided, you know what? Okay, I'll crack it open. We'll see how it tastes.
Yeah, it's for content purposes.
It's for content.
Yeah, we're building audiences here, and the people want a seltzer review.
The people want my seltzer review, so I gave them one. 8% seltzer is a bit much. That is my statement. 8% seltzer is a bit much. I don't know if you guys ever had, and it was more when I was in high school, because I was not drinking these at all, but Four Loko. You guys remember the Four Loko craze about 10 years ago?
Nope. Nah, I never got into the Four Loko craze.
So Four Lokos had to be banished because they were literally killing people because it was 10% and it was extremely strong. You'd have one or two and you'd be set. And then you keep drinking, obviously, because it tastes like candy. The 8% seltzer is a bit much. It tastes like, the good thing about what I love my seltzers and what I love about a 4 or 5% seltzer is it doesn't taste like booze, right? You can knock back.
I was gonna say the way to get to an 8% seltzer before White Claw came out with this one is just take a normal seltzer and add 2 shots of Tito's to it, and mix and drink.
And
that's for the real professionals.
Yeah, no,
that
dabbled
seems
in
like
that.
it might be considered a problem.
You could do that with You could do that with coffee. You could do it with Diet Coke. It's really great.
Yeah.
Right. I've done that science experiment too, and that one I am for, by the way. That is a good way to go about it. But 8% is just a bit much with it.
Because you passed out, or because it wasn't as good? What?
It was just
why?
really, really boozy, and I couldn't really taste. So the flavor was tangerine, I believe, was the actual flavor. I tasted no part of no blood orange. It was blood orange was the flavor. Blood orange, and I do like blood orange flavored things, and I like blood oranges. So I thought, this would be great. And it was very, 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 very boozy, to the point where I had to get a lift to go to a friend's house at 5 because I was too scared to drive after drinking an 8% seltzer.
Wow.
And I'm very timid with it.
You're also kind of a lightweight too, aren't you? I mean,
well,
you're not holding as much booze as Judd Zolgad.
I'll say this. I am not a lightweight.
COVID.
You'd be surprised how much I can hold back, but I know my limit. I know when I get to a limit, and I know when I hit it, and I know when to quit.
It's fair.
I know when to quit. Yeah. It's very good self-awareness.
Look at Declan is growing in front of our eyes, man. He's becoming a mature adult.
I doubt him. I'm sorry, Declan.
It's okay.
I have a Timberwolves statement here that comes with a video clip. All right, so let's play the video clip first of Karl-Anthony Towns, and I'll give you my statement.
How you doing? We saw you get kind of banged up towards the end. Was it a kind of a knee thing that happened there? How you feeling?
Good. Just happens in basketball. Just needed.
Tonight, Los Angeles came in as one of the best three-point shooting teams. They shot 50% from three-point range tonight. What went wrong in terms of trying to keep them down and getting hands in their faces and things like that, especially from the outside?
Just didn't play hard enough. Didn't have that sense of urgency. We came in cool, acting like we were supposed to get 2 in a row. Just wasn't the right way to approach the game.
All right, here's my statement, boys. Okay, Karl-Anthony Towns says all the right things, but he's part of the problem with these losses too. And run-on statement. His act for the audio audience, he grabs a stat sheet at the beginning of that clip, looks at it, shakes his head, crumples it up, and throws it over his shoulder while he's being asked a question. That is a performance. Like that's not a natural thing that he's doing. He's doing that because he knows he's on camera.
So work, you mean?
And I just don't. I just feel like there's so many things that he's saying that they need to do differently, and he's diagnosing that they get too arrogant after winning a game against the Heat, and it's like, okay, there's just too many games where he's not playing defense, where the whole team isn't playing defense. There's too many games, quite frankly, where and he's amazing, he's their best player, but like where he's had 4 games this month where he's shot below 40%. He's a 7-footer that can shoot from anywhere on the court, can literally get any shot he wants as a 7-footer, and he's shooting below 40% because he's settling for bad shots, or he's not moving the ball when he should be in certain situations. It's like it rubs me the wrong way when he does the crumple the paper and throw it over the shoulder bit when they were down by 40 going into the fourth quarter. It's like, we know. No more lip service. This franchise has been garbage for 15 years. Put your head down, grind, play defense, score, and if you get your ass kicked, I don't need the performance thing in the post-game press conference anymore.
So this is the same thing in a different way that he did in his first couple of years when he would fall on the sword for every defeat. I wasn't good enough. At first, I'm like, oh, that's good to hear. And by the 18th time, I'm like, dude, you're saying this to say it. I wasn't good enough. This is on me. I have to win games. And I finally got, in fact, I think that we talked about this on the show, Phil, quite a bit at the time. And we're like, it means nothing now. You're just saying this it's the autopilot of what you're going to say, which is, this is all my fault. I have to play better. And then guess what? You come out the next game, same thing, rinse and repeat, and it's a loss, and Karl takes responsibility. This seems to be the new way of doing that, which is we got to do this, we have to do that. Here's the difference between guys like Karl and Kirk and Ant. Okay, Ant's a kid, I get that, but there's never a time that you see Ant on a Zoom after a game where you question his sincerity of what he is saying, right? It's true to him. What he is saying, it might be wrong, but it's true to him, and that's all that counts. Karl is a lot like Cousins in the fact that they're almost playing the role of an athlete who has won or lost, and what they should say, what they've sort of been taught. Hey, here's what you want to say. You now, Karl, you are the de facto captain here, so you act like a captain, and here's what a captain does. But it's not true to him, and it's not true.
Yeah.
So it means nothing.
I think that's a great comparison because I wonder the same thing with Cousins that I do with Cat, and I'll preface it by saying they're both super talented. They can both play at a super high level, among the best in their sports at their positions at times. Mm-hmm. But then they also go through these confounding stretches, both as individuals and as a team, where it's like, what are you doing? Cousins against the Falcons or Cat with these 35% shooting games, or it just doesn't make sense. And they always say the right CEO thing after the game for the most part. And I always wonder with both of them, are you putting in the work as a communicator, as a leader behind the scenes to help fix the problems that you talk about in the postgame, or are you just telling the media and the fans what you think they need to hear, and then you're just kind of going back into your own individual shell, right? Mm-hmm. And I just think I don't think Towns is a wonderfully talented player. I don't think he, from a leadership standpoint, is influencing like the development and growth of the team into a winning culture. I just don't.
And that comes back to me to even if you're a super talented player, that does not mean that you have the ability to lead. It just doesn't. Like you can't go. Cat can't say, "This is my team." Listen, guys will be like, "No, thank you." You have to have that, or you don't. And look, the majority of people don't, and that's absolutely fine. That doesn't mean that Cat's not great. The Kirk thing is a little bit weirder because he is a quarterback, and the quarterback has become so important that I do think that there is some responsibility for a quarterback to have that gene now. It might not be fair, but I think it's a fact. But I mean, if this becomes when we talk about this being Ant's team, at least personally, I'm not saying that Cat's not great, and I'm not saying Cat can't be an influential member of the eventual success. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is watch Ant and watch Cat. Which one? No worries. Which one are you going to follow? Like if you were to take a path, like if each was to say, Phil Mackey, follow me. Watch what I do and follow. Ant's 19. You're going to follow him.
Yep, he has more of. I mean, and maybe he's not going to wind up being this great leader too. We'll find out. But he seems to have more of that quality than Karl-Anthony Towns does.
Yes.
All right. Itchy trigger finger. Back to Judd.
Damn it! I've got one more.
I do too, by the way. So we'll two more here.
The Wild have found the absolutely ideal and perfect role for Zach Parise, and I know he's very well paid. But on the fourth line. He has 4 goals. I thought you were going to say
as a color commentator on Valley Sports North starting next week.
No, he has 4 goals in the past 5 games. He has not looked this good in a long time. And the reason is his average ice time right now is 12 minutes, 15 seconds per game. Last year, it was 14:59. So he is thriving because he's not being used as much. This actually has a chance to make him at least semi-marketable this summer because in this role, he's been so good. Now, my guess is he's going to start to be like, I'd like to play a little bit more. I think I should be. I mean, he's already politicking that, if I'm going to play like this, no. The role is why you're playing well. If you get more, you are going to drop off. Congratulations, Dean Evison, Bill Guerin, the entire franchise. You're taking a guy who, yes, the paycheck does not fit the role, but it's a sunk cost. So you are taking him and maximizing what you can get fourth line.
Yeah, and obviously you could say, well, wouldn't that just be a great role for him to play on the Wild next year too, that he could just be this 12 and a half minute guy, third, fourth liner? Well, not for $7 million to your salary cap, right? Mm-hmm. Which is what I think it is next season, somewhere in that range, 6.5, $7.5 million.
No, I think you got it.
So if you can find a way to offload that would be ideal. Final statement here, boys. Presented by our friends at PXG. Okay, I was outside doing some shadow swinging here, getting the swing groove to try and break 100 out here. That's right. Sometimes, you know
tracking?
How
Were you tracking golf balls, Phil?
Phil Jackson used to he'd turn the lights out in the arena, and then he would go through guided meditation practices with the Chicago Bulls teams. Sometimes you have to visualize success before you actually experience it in real time. Well, PXG will just help you with better clubs. That's where they're at here. PXG Minneapolis, the Gen 4 clubs have landed. Drivers, fairways, hybrids, and irons. The best clubs and the best performing clubs PXG has ever made, which is saying something. They make great clubs. And if you just want to look sharp, maybe you're crappy at golf, but you just want to look the part. Well, PXG can help on that front too. Spring and summer apparel has arrived. PXG Minneapolis in Southdale Center. Find out more at pxg.com/Minneapolis. My statement is, it is impossible to quit Twitter, boys. I'm going to read you 2 different things, okay? The first is a series of tweets from Chrissy Teigen less than a month ago. And the second is Chrissy Teigen tweeting yesterday. So this is almost a month ago. Hey, for over 10 years, you guys have been my world. I honestly owe so much to this world we have created here on Twitter. I truly consider so many of you my actual friends. But it's time for me to say goodbye. This no longer serves me as positively as it serves me as negatively, and I think that that's the right time to call something. My life goal is to make people happy. The pain I feel when I don't is too much for me. I've always been portrayed as the strong clapback girl, but I'm just not. My desire to be liked and fear of pissing people off has made me have to say goodbye to Twitter. That was Chrissy Teigen. Actually,
I remember that was highly emotional.
This is Chrissy Teigen yesterday on Twitter. Turns out it feels terrible to silence yourself and also no longer be able to enjoy belly chuckles randomly throughout the day. I choose to take the bad with the good. Chrissy Teigen is back on Twitter.
She went Jordan. I'm back. Wow, Chrissy.
So, could you guys ever envision yourselves quitting Twitter?
Hell no. I love Twitter.
I love it.
Are you kidding?
I'm addicted to it.
Yeah,
Lifeline.
Yeah.
How'd I live
couldn't
without
either.
it?
I mean, unless like everybody else quit it and there was just nothing happening on Twitter. I stare at Twitter more per day than literally anything else. Like
it's the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no other form. Instagram. I go through it. I'm so bored. It's just pictures of people. I don't want to see your picture.
There's comment sections.
There's comment sections, but it's not like Twitter. See, I love the down in the gutter nature of Twitter. I like the good and the nasty. I mean that's what makes it great. It's life. I don't get these folks who are like, I'm getting off Twitter because it's always a cesspool. Yeah, you know what? Life's a cesspool.
Yeah, it is.
Like we live in a cesspool, folks. There ain't a lot of there's good and there's a lot of bad, and it goes both ways. But I mean, where else can I follow things in real time instantly? No, I'm addicted. It's a drug.
Mackey and Judd State Fair shirts for this year. Life's a cesspool.
Life's a cesspool.
Get in.
Sometimes iPhone doesn't give you your screen time report. Like sometimes my screen reports don't add up for the day. But the last one where it had a full week where it actually worked. April 4th to the 11th, I was on Twitter for 10 hours and 10 minutes that week alone just on my cell phone. And I know for a fact that I have TweetDeck open on my web right now.
I got bad news for you. That's not that bad.
I'm guessing TweetDeck is open through 90% of my shift here in the office. You go to your settings.
Okay, screen time.
Yep, screen time.
Hold on.
And then see all activity, and you'll get a week and a day report. Sometimes it doesn't track for me. Like last week, it stopped tracking after Wednesday, so I don't know what I really did after Wednesday.
So this will tell me how many
app by app breakdown.
Okay, daily average. Hold on a second here.
Yeah, sometimes.
So what does this mean? Twitter daily average. It tells me how many times I check it per day. It's not giving me an hours report.
Okay,
or is it just maybe it's just for today because it's a new week?
Yes, that's what. Yes,
so
that's correct.
If you scroll to the left on the bar graph,
I can go last
weeks.
week. Last week.
Yep. So you can.
I
just want to see how much. Oh my god.
How do I scroll?
Oh man.
How do I scroll left?
So
go
on
to the
my
graph, Judd.
Okay, go explain it to Judd, and then I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Okay.
See how this? You can scroll. You can swipe like that.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right, so last week, this is on my phone only. I definitely spend double the amount of time on Twitter on TweetDeck at least than I do on my phone.
Sure.
I spent 8 hours on Twitter last week. I spent 5.5 hours just on text messages, and I spent 3 hours and 20 minutes on Instagram.
Yeah.
How long?
2 hours on YouTube, just going through analytics dashboard and comments and stuff. On text, 5.5 hours.
Oh my God, that's impressive.
I have a lot of group text threads. One of them is with you guys.
Right.
And then there's another one with us and Jake Depew from Talking Twins. And then I have another one during Twins games with some friends that's open. So I'm just during Twins games, I'm looking more at my group text threads during Twins games than the actual game itself.
I've done that before.
And Twitter. I'm watching Twitter and text more than the actual game itself.
I'm a big. I have all even ours. I have ours muted. I have ours muted basically at all times because I hate constant notifications on my phone.
I agree with that.
So all my sibling chat, your guys' chat, any group chat I have is permanently muted.
Can't believe you muted us.
Yep.
So you
can't believe you've silenced us
so
this.
You can see it, but it doesn't ding
doesn't ding
how?
me. Yep, doesn't ding.
Oh,
unless
that's a good
I physically
idea.
turn on the phone and go to my messages and see.
I like what you. You know what?
It's pretty. Handy.
I agree completely.
Especially if Zolgad's on one about some tangent, I can just hit that mute button and I won't hear about it till the next morning.
But the good thing is, I send my texts all in one thread, basically. So it's not like 3 words, 3 words, 3 words, ding, ding, ding,
Yeah,
that drives me up.
Depew sends them
Depew
like
kills
every
me with
3
that.
words.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Text. Did you see what just happened? Boom. Can't believe
These
Rocco
guys
did that. Boom.
Are idiots. The Twins.
Fire everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I could never. Chrissy, you know what? You should have asked me. I would have told you don't get off Twitter. Twitter's I love it. It's a great mechanism.
One of my Twins game threads with friends, and Depew's on that one too. I don't have it muted. And so, once in a while, like my wife and I will use my Amazon account just for all of our Amazon purchases.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, like if her phone's dead or if whatever, she'll just say, "Hey, can I grab your phone? I need to check something on Amazon." And like there was a time last season during a playoff game where it was like Twins were getting their asses. And no, actually, because those were close games against the Stros. It was, I don't know, some sort of crisis moment during like a late season game or something, because we would have been in studio for the playoff games.
Sure.
And she's got my phone looking at Amazon, and my Twins game thread is like nonstop, like ding, 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 ding. And she's like, "Who are these people? Like, what is this?
She's
like,
not wrong.
What are you doing?"
She's
and
not
I
wrong.
like, well, I don't know. It's my Twins game thread. Don't judge me. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't. I try and keep away from that. That's a lot.